here. This video journal is on top bracing, a little bit of history of top bracing, how it evolved, and the two top bracing patterns that I'm working on currently. Keep watching.
Braces, or struts as they're sometimes called, are thin strips of quarter-sawn or split wood, usually made out of spruce, that are glued to the inside of the top of the guitar in order to strengthen the top to withstand the pull of the strings, and to assist in modifying the stiffness of the top for tonal purposes, and sometimes to help provide an arch to the top. Guitar bracing patterns can be broken down into three main types. Ladder bracing, which is the earliest type of bracing used in early guitars, lutes, citrons. The fan bracing originated among Spanish guitar makers in the mid-18th century. And the X bracing pattern, which is generally attributed to Christian Frederick Martin between 1840 and 1845. With ladder bracing, a few braces are placed across the width of the guitar's body, both the top and the back. This pattern was the original bracing pattern for plucked stringed instruments, used on the predecessor to the guitar like the lute and the citron. Also used in smaller gut-string guitars of the Renaissance, Baroque, and the early Romantic periods, its straightforward design worked well for guitars with lower string tension and can result in a sound with more prominent overtones. Ladder bracing was also used in steel string parlor guitars. The smaller body and shorter scale length of these guitars makes ladder bracing a viable choice. The simplicity of construction allowed them to be mass-produced and sold through mail order catalogs like Sears and Roebuck's. These mass-produced guitars were affordable, which helped make them the prominent instrument in folk and blues music of the early 20th century. The development of the fan style of bracing was a gradual process, originating among the Spanish guitar makers of the mid-18th century. First 3, then gradually 5, then 7 braces in a fan-shaped pattern evolved. Antonio de Torres, who was born on June 13, 1817, in southeast Spain, is considered by many the father of the modern-day classical guitar. Although he really didn't do anything that hadn't already been done by other guitar makers, Torres' guitars sounded different. Torres refined the guitar by giving it a larger body with an arched soundboard and a fan bracing system consisting of 7 readily placed braces and 2 placed diagonally at the bottom part of the larger bout. His guitars had a much warmer tone than guitars that had preceded it, with stronger bass and a broader dynamic range, making them much better for concert performers. Torres did build smaller instruments, but his primary focus was on the concert guitar. From the moment that Torres introduced the large template for his best guitars in the early 1850s, the small-bodied guitar prevalent then became extinct as a concert instrument. The X brace system is named for the 2 main braces that form an X shape across the top below the sound hole. Today, most steel string acoustic guitar tops use this X bracing or a variation of it. The X brace is generally attributed to Christian Frederick Martin, which he refined between 1840 and 1845. C.F. Martin was born in 1796 in Germany, and at an early age he entered into an apprenticeship with Viennese guitar builder John Stauffer. There he learned the ladder bracing that was used on the instruments of the day. After immigrating to New York in 1833, he gradually abandoned the Stauffer style of his instruments and developed his own style responding to the demands of the American market. He adopted the fan bracing system that Torres was revolutionizing in Spain. C.F. Martin experimented with many variants of the X-type bracing before settling on a final X pattern that we know today. Whether or not Martin actually invented the X brace is not known, but certainly he refined it, making it his own, and by 1850s, most of his guitars were built with this bracing pattern.
And now onto the tops that I'm working on now. One has a modified X brace pattern that I've used many times before, has a lower face brace that's in a different position than standard X bracing. The other one is an H brace pattern that I've come up with that I'm really excited about. And I've used it on a couple of guitars previously already.
So these are all the braces that I'll be using on this particular top. And it is an H, I call it an H bracing pattern. It's kind of pinched H down here at the bottom. And there's two main brace members here. A little cross brace, which is thinner. The upper face brace and this little brace here are the same as you'll find on almost every acoustic guitar. These will be for our lower face braces, although I think I'm going to modify the placement of these just a little bit on this next guitar. I've made two like this already. This line that we see here is actually, or dimension line, so that's not a brace there. Gives me a hour shaped bandsaw too. Because it's time to start working on the tops. These are all the braces for the top that will have a arch to them. And so basically you just need to find the center. I'm not even going to bother pre-sanding these. That's such a little bit amount that I'm pre-sanding them on the disc sander, and maybe even the same for these. That's such a little amount, it's going to come off easily enough. Cleaned off the sawdust from the radius dish, and now we're going to do the two H braces. And since they are on opposite sides, I'll start them together and then move them to their appropriate positions to sand. I've made a little clamping guide here. position the bracing as I glue it up here where the upper face brace is going to be. Just a little, I'm going to trim that a little bit. Okay, now it's time to glue this up. Put a little positioning mark right here just so I'll know kind of where to come to when I'm putting this on. All glued up, and now this is where this positioning call comes in real handy. Tends to swim a little bit, but that's okay. I know where it's supposed to be. Glue start to grab. Then we'll start putting some braces on it. Bridge plate. Kind of marked what the bridge is on there. And now I'm going to be working on the face braces. With the lower braces fitted properly and pre-carved a little bit, I'm going to glue them in place. I'm going to try something different this time. I've made these little positioning calls, if you will. I have a piece of little plexiglass on the top that protrudes out and some little rubbery stuff on the bottom to keep it from sliding. And I'm going to put it right up against the brace to be glued and use a go bar to keep it in place. The purpose being anytime calls will work. Just press up against the edge so I know I'm at the right angle, and then right up against And I've got to trim the length too, so I'll take a little material off there. And that's probably good for those. A little bridge plate clamping caul that is flexible but rigid that I will use. good. Now that I have my X-brace top glued, ready for carving, it's time to move on to the X-brace. Alright, those are the braces that I will need. And they will need to be arched. Now I can arch them. Get them to the proper depth. The top that will have the X bracing. And have lightly pencil drawn in where it's going to sit. I've sanded the X brace and I'm going to do the placement preparation for the glue up. check that everything is seating properly. Just one brace in the center and just some light finger pressure. I should not be able to get this gauge. I'm putting glue on an X brace like this and putting it on a top. It's just going to swim around a lot, and placement is always a kind of critical. So I've got my little, I'm going to call them tugboats, tug clamps. They are there to both lower face braces are glued, and the X brace has been glued on this top. And we'll put the bridge patch, or bridge plate, as some call it, on. It has been arched to the 30-foot radius. Get down to the bottom of this glue. bridge patch glued on, I'm going to start gluing on these finger braces.
I've got the tops and the backs ready for these next two builds. This one has the H bracing pattern on it, and it's the quilted figured Nagall. So the backs and the top of that one are ready. This one is going to be the Celtic inlay pattern. It's an X brace, modified X brace, rosewood. So backs, tops are complete. Now it's time to move to the sides. Well, this concludes video journal number 6, bracing the tops of the two builds I'm working on. The tops are done, the backs are done. Now it's time to move on to the sides. Thanks for watching.